"You'll have to carry me out in a box," Pop always said. But that was in days past, when he was boisterous and full of life. In those days, his booming voice commanded our home and our lives, as though he were still a naval captain commanding one of his ships. "All ashore that's going ashore," he'd shout, and we'd run to the car lest we be overlooked in the mob and left behind. Going out with Pop was not to be missed. He was capable of turning even the most humdrum errand into an adventure. On the way home from errands, we'd usually end up calling. Calling meant visiting some old friend, unannounced, staying for a quick drink and a reminisce of days past before returning home to Mama. Once home, Mama always asked what kept us so long. Pop was happiest when surrounded by people, especially when he was the center of attention, telling stories or singing songs. Always stories of naval exploits from World War II, and always songs he'd sung on board ship. Lately, Pop was so frustrated trying to speak, he just gave up. He must have had small strokes over time that gradually diminished his ability to verbalize. I don't even remember when the laughter stopped. But even though it was trapped inside him, it was still there. His eyes sparkled it. Pop's laughter was as much a part of our lives as eating and sleeping. It was the punchline to his stories and the final note to his silly songs. Sometimes when he and Mama were at a neighbor's house and we were outside playing in the field, we'd hear his laughter carried on the wind. If the wind blew just right, the whole neighborhood could hear Pop laugh. Pop constantly scolded us with, "If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all." By our sheer numbers, someone was always complaining, and I guess it was his way of trying to keep us quiet. But now I understand that he lived his life by that expression. Finding something nice to say surely gave him the strength through the hardship of so many mouths to feed, and surely gave him the courage to laugh. If he laughed, we would all laugh. He was wise in that way. Following Pop's advice, I'm looking for something nice to say that is genuine and does not ignore the mourning that I feel. It's hard because he's gone now. And to provide for him and for Mom, we had to sell the house. The house, the home he swore he'd never leave alive, built on the land his father purchased so many years ago. Logically, it's one of those things we had to do, but I fear Pop's heart would have broken if he knew. Maybe he did know. Or maybe, perhaps in that way, the Alzheimer's was a blessing. The experiences of this past year have led me to believe that, underlying the events here, a certain beauty is at work. It's hard to explain, but I feel like there's a natural force willing things along, and somehow, as cliché as it sounds, all is well. That's what Pop would say, "All is well." That's just how he was, because he would not want us to be sad. So I'm clinging to all is well for myself and for him. Somehow I am finding strength in it. Now the house has been sold, and soon it will be torn down. I'm glad no other family will live in our house. Our walls will crumble, whispering our tales, just as they were raised to listen to them. Tales of love and happiness, of tears and sadness, of heartbreak and healing, but mostly tales of laughter and the romantic fairy tale ending of all is well. Perhaps one day If I'm paying attention and the wind is blowing just right, I'll hear those whispers, just as I'll hear the echo of Pop's laughter.